What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today, Saturday morning. It's an okay day here in Columbus, but we got to talk about some news that broke earlier this morning, early morning, East Coast time, around 5 or 6 a.m., courtesy of Jacob Hale over at DeSerto. Big changes going on at New York Subliners. You would have thought team wins champs, no changes, but there are going to supposedly be changes. Let's talk about what's going on with the team, Priestahh and SIB potentially joining the roster. All right, so here is the news that broke early in the morning. Sources, New York Subliners, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. New York Subliners assigned SIB as a Priestahh replacement for the 2024 season. So, there was a lot of conversation last few weeks. Preston, aka Priestahh, was kind of coming off of a potential situation where they would pick up his team option. They actually did not do that, New York. So it's like, okay, well, maybe they're just going to renegotiate the deal, try to figure things out. And not a lot of progress in the last week or so, and it seems like there might have been a breakdown in those negotiations, and it looks like they are going to go ahead and potentially move ahead with signing SIB. Now, SIB, aka Dante, is a player that New York has targeted or has thought about targeting in the past on previous iterations of their team, and it seems like finally they're going to go ahead and move forward with that. According to the article, Subliners tried to negotiate a lower salary with Priestahh to cut costs. The two parties struggled to find a compromise. And also, there's not really news here on what's next for Priestahh. We'll get to that in a second. So, couple of thoughts. First thought, we've had teams make changes after winning champs, but it's mostly kind of more weird edge situations like what happened with United, with franchising. This one's definitely a shock. I would have thought that New York would have figured it out. With Priestahh, obviously a team wins champs, you want to run it back. Chemistry's good. This is a team that really was a cohesive unit all season, and there's a reason that they won 3 events this year. I'll say this, bringing in SIB for Priestahh, I think is definitely a little bit of an improvement in the skill area, but I have questions about, how are certain things on the team going to work in regards to some of the objective functions that happen on the map, communication functions, and also are they going to have the sort of same vibe this season with SIB? I think in general going into this season, there was always a question on my end about what's going to be their area of motivation now that you've won champs. We've seen a lot of teams. We've seen almost every team that wins champs, actually all of them. I don't know why I keep changing my thought on that. We've seen all the teams that win champs struggle to win a back-to-back because none have done it. And you got to find that source of motivation. And this is a weird one, man. I think SIB is definitely a little more skilled than Preston, but I don't think I really saw this one coming. There's a bunch of knockdown effects now to a bunch of different other teams. As early as yesterday, we were talking in videos and on stream about SIB potentially being an option for OPTIC Texas. He's now potentially off the board there, it looks like, unless this is a leverage player. He's going to try and use this to maybe leverage OPTIC. I don't know. But it seems like OPTIC's now going to have to choose between Kenny and maybe Preston. Maybe Preston's now an option for OPTIC. So real tough offseason for OPTIC so far. Obviously, they got Pred, but they've really struggled to fill this other spot on their roster. It seems like 2 of the options they've looked at so far are not available for pickup. So we'll see what they are going to do going forward. All right, so here is sort of where we're at with sort of Rostermania right we see that we've got, we put Pred on there, Envoy on there, SIB, Madraza. I put question marks next to them because they haven't been officially announced, but I think most, if not all, those moves are going to happen. So where does Priestahh go? So a couple of thoughts on my end. Obviously, we just talked about OPTIC. I can see that. He can run a second sub. He can run a flex. He'll be kind of selfless. Does OPTIC choose him over maybe Kenny? I don't really know. That's sort of an interesting decision, and one I think we'll discuss on stream later on this afternoon. But something to think about if you're in the OPTIC camp now as you make your final decision. I think for Preston, actually, the best situation I think exists up here in Boston now. I think for Boston, sort of a way that you could kind of do this team, because I know they picked up the option on Beans and Cramp, but they can also just release those players. I think that a lineup like this, right? Snoopy and Priestahh as your subs. Let's say Ghosty and Slasher as the next options. I kind of like this lineup. There's a lot of veteran presence on this team. There's a lot of experience between Priestahh and Priestahh and Slasher rather. Dan's definitely still young, but I think has the right mindset. And they can all really teach Snoopy to be that player. And this is very similar what New York's done with sort of Hydra's development, and I think kind of set Snoopy on the right path. Now, you could swap out Dan Ghosty for Kenny or some other kind of flex. You can maybe put Preston at a flex and pick up a different second sub, but I kind of like Preston going to Boston. I think he kind of fits the sort of experience they want, the winning mindset they want, the good player in practice, because I've managed Preston for a while when he was on FaZe. My co-host on Scrap Time, obviously, is very close to Preston. They played together. He coached Preston on 100 Thieves, coached Preston on Atlanta FaZe. And I never heard anything bad about Priestahh in regards to practice and being a good teammate. So I think it fits the mold of a lot of what Boston wants. And as far as I know, how Rostermania is working right now, Boston's kind of next up of the sort of Minnesota, Seattle, LAT pack, because they are offering larger deals than some of the other organizations. So if Preston doesn't go there, I could see him being part of whatever the rebuild is in Minnesota. He's obviously got history on 100 Thieves. He's won championships for them before. So going back to Thieves and working with Cap and Shane also seems like a good idea. And one other option is sort of the rumor around Seattle that potentially Rambo Ray is coaching. This seems like the perfect player for Ray, so see him there. I think Preston's going to kind of land on his feet on one of these squads, so we'll see where he goes. But I really feel for Preston in this situation. Would love to know kind of, what the difference in the contract stuff was, like how far apart they were. It's very, very, very rare that this happens, especially for a team. I don't think I can remember it happening for a team that won champs like this. So feel for him, but SIB coming in definitely might improve the skill on New York, but still obviously questions of where they stand amongst the top teams going to next season. So things are starting to spice up a little bit here in Rostermania. So yeah, that's it for the twists and turns overnight. I think we were still waiting on a bunch of things. We're waiting on what's going to go on with OPTIC. Obviously the Seattle, Minnesota, LA Thieves, Boston stuff is kind of up next. Are we going to confirm what's going on in Florida? Still some twists and turns. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of the move from New York. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think of SIB potentially coming to New York? Is that an upgrade, downgrade? Curious your thoughts. Let me know in the comments and I'll respond to a couple of y'all. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next video.